Sometimes, a single sentence can shatter a person's heart and rebuild it all at once. And on a chilly Tuesday evening, inside a quiet corner booth of a small-town diner, that sentence came from two little girls, two tiny voices carrying more hunger, hope, and honesty than any adult ever could. "Sir, can we eat with you?" The single dad looked up, confused at first, then stunned. What he saw in their eyes changed his life forever. Before we dive into this emotional story, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment to support your channel name. Your support helps us share more heart-touching stories that remind us of the goodness still left in this world. Mark Bennett wasn't used to eating alone. For years, his evenings were filled with the sound of giggles, questions, and tiny feet running across wooden floors. But ever since his divorce a year ago, his life felt unnaturally quiet. The kind of quiet that presses on your chest, the kind that makes even a fork clinking against a plate feel loud. He was a single father to a 7-year-old girl named Emily, the brightest part of his world. But Emily wasn't with him that night. She was at her mom's for the week, and without her, Mark didn't really know what to do with himself. So he found himself inside a small, cozy diner on the edge of town. The kind filled with the smell of frying onions, warm bread, and old country music humming softly in the background. He ordered as usual, grilled chicken, vegetables, and a sweet tea. Nothing special, nothing exciting, just something to fill the space. He didn't expect anything. Not a conversation, not a moment, not a story worth telling years later. But life doesn't warn us before giving us the moments that change us. As he took his first bite, he noticed movement near the door. Two little girls, twins, maybe 6 years old, stood there hesitating. Their hair was messy, their clothes a bit too thin for the cold weather outside. They had backpacks on, worn out and sagging like they were. Too much weight for such small shoulders. They whispered to each other, then looked around the diner with unsure eyes. Mark felt something in his chest tighten. He recognized that look. He had worn it himself as a kid, when you're hungry but embarrassed to admit it, when you want something but you're scared to ask. A moment later, their eyes landed on him, and they walked over. Two small hands gently pressed against the edge of his table. Two pairs of eyes blinked up at him, and then came the question, "Sir, can we eat with you?" The words were soft, polite, hopeful, and they broke him. Mark inhaled slowly, trying to steady his voice. "Of course you can. Sit down." The twins slid into the booth, sitting close together, their legs dangling above the floor. "I'm Lily," one said quietly. "And I'm Lila," the other added, slightly braver. Mark smiled. "I'm Mark. Are you girls okay? Where's your mom or dad?" Their smiles faded a little. They looked at each other again, as if deciding who should speak. "Our dad works nights," Lily said, "and we're supposed to wait for him at home," Lila whispered. "But we got hungry." Mark's heart sank deeper. "Did you walk here by yourselves?" They nodded. "It wasn't far," Lily said. "We passed by and saw the lights. We smelled the food." The way she said it, softly, like she felt guilty for feeling hungry, hit Mark harder than anything. He waved over the waitress, a kind woman named Brenda, who had known Mark since high school. When she approached, Mark leaned in and said, "They can order whatever they want, and please, add 2 hot chocolates." Brenda nodded with a smile that held both warmth and understanding. When the food arrived, grilled cheese sandwiches, fries, and chicken noodle soup, the twins' faces lit up like it was Christmas morning. But what happened next made Mark's throat tighten. They didn't dig in right away. Instead, they waited. Lily looked up. "Is it okay if we pray?" Mark swallowed hard and nodded. "Yes, of course." The girls held hands, bowed their heads, and whispered a short prayer of gratitude. Not for toys, not for wishes, but for food. "Thank you for this dinner, and thank you for the nice man who let us sit with him." Mark felt tears gather in his eyes, but he blinked them away quickly. As they ate, they talked. They told him they loved drawing. They loved cats even though they didn't have one. They loved cereal for dinner. They missed their mom who had passed away 2 years earlier. That last part they said quietly, too quietly. And that's when Mark realized something. The twins weren't just hungry for food. They were hungry for kindness, for safety, for a moment when the world didn't feel too big or too hard. They reminded him of Emily. They reminded him of himself. When the girls finally cleaned their plates, every last crumb, they leaned back with sleepy smiles. "Thank you, Mr. Mark," Lila said softly. "You made today feel good," Lily added. But Mark wasn't ready to just let them walk out alone. "Girls, I should walk you home, it's dark." They nodded, trusting him in a way only children who've seen too much can. As they walked through the cool night air, the twins pointed out their favorite tree, their school, the shortcut they weren't supposed to take but sometimes did. Finally, they reached a small, worn-out duplex. A single porch light flickered overhead. Their dad, a tired man with oil-stained hands and deep exhaustion carved into his face, opened the door, and when he saw his daughters with Mark, his expression changed instantly. "Oh, God. Girls, I told you not to leave the house. I was terrified," he said, pulling them into a tight hug. "We were hungry, Daddy," Lily whispered. Mark raised a gentle hand. "They're okay. They ate. I just wanted to make sure they got home safe." The father's eyes softened, then filled with heavy shame. "I'm so sorry," he said. "I'm working 2 jobs. Some nights, I just can't make it home in time. But they shouldn't have bothered you." Mark shook his head. "They didn't bother me. They reminded me what matters. They reminded me of my daughter." There was a moment of silence, an understanding shared between 2 exhausted fathers trying their best. The twins hugged Mark tightly before going inside, their tiny arms squeezing with surprising strength. "Bye, Mr. Mark," they said. "Good night, sweethearts," he whispered. As Mark walked back toward town, he felt something warm settle in his chest, a feeling he hadn't felt in months. Purpose, connection, kindness. He realized something simple yet powerful. Sometimes the universe sends us the exact people we need, even if they're only 6 years old. And sometimes the smallest act of kindness, a warm meal, a safe walk home, can stitch together the broken parts of a stranger's heart and your own. Conclusion. When Mark returned to the diner the next week with his daughter Emily, the twins were there again, this time with their dad, and they all shared a meal together. What started as a simple question from 2 hungry girls turned into a bond that changed all their lives. That night taught Mark something unforgettable. Kindness doesn't just help others. It heals us. It strengthens us. It reminds us what it means to be human. And maybe, just maybe, the world becomes a little softer every time we choose to care. So today, if you can, choose kindness. You never know whose heart might need it.